Hi guys, I'm back with another series of reviews, and today I'm reviewing the Beast Quest series, Series 1 from 1 to 6 of the Beast Quest books. I read these before, back in my last school before I moved on to college, and I actually really got fond of them and grew attached to them. So much so that I won a contest and got a bumper sticker book along with some limited edition, first time when they were coming out, top trump cards of the Beast Quest series, which is actually pretty awesome, since I was the time when they were coming out. But with some review on Fear of the Fire Dragon, and to start off with the Beast Quest series, in all honesty, it's a good book to start up the series with. I mean, most of the chapters focus on setting up the world, setting up Tom as a character, setting up the other characters, the plot of the first series, and who your enemy is. Malvel the Wizard Adaro, King Hugo, Elena, that's how I pronounce her name, Tom, Silver the Wolf, Storm the Black Stallion. I think that's all the characters in the first book, at least. Or probably all the majority of the continuing characters who show up throughout the main series. I think they're not. I know Tom is in all of. I don't know if King Hugo shows up again. Maybe he does. I know Wizardoria might. No, Adaro. Sorry, if I'm saying his name wrong, it's probably right. But I pronounce it as Wizard Adaro. Anyway, so the first plot is the Dark Wizard Malvel has put a curse on the 6 good beasts of Avon. I need to get this name right. Avantia, I'm guessing it's called. Could someone tell me how you pronounce the name, please? Is it Avantania? Advantia? In all honesty, if there's a word that I can't pronounce, I just make it sound the way I want to have it said. So I'm going to call it Avantia. So, the Dark Wizard Malvel has put a curse on these 6 beasts, and he wants them under his control so he can take over the kingdom. That's what I'm assuming his goal is, because in all honesty I haven't made it to book 6 yet, so hopefully I'll get some answers. I'm actually going to wonder if it'd be good, but Tom's goal, of course, is to free the beasts from their spell so they can protect the kingdom and all that. And then I think he's got to find the wizard and take care of him. I know there's more than 6 books in this series, so obviously Tom's not done. I've actually saw some of the other ones, but this time I'm actually going to get the books all in order. I'm actually going to get this book replaced because it's got a bit of a dent there in the corner, and it's still in good condition, but I'm going to as well sell it and get a new one, just getting in the post. I'm also getting Series 2 in the post as well, which is pretty awesome. Other than that, I don't need any more book replacements. I mean, I've got a few little, with the spines, there's some nudgings, like when you bend a book open, the spine wears a bit and starts to show whiteness. So it's a problem, but it's not really a major problem than the book tearing, so I can live with it. Other than that, Fear of the Fire Dragon is a good start. I'm not going to give much away of the story so that new people can go ahead and give these series a challenge and get onto them. But I'm glad that Fern was the first creature he fights as a dragon. A good way to introduce classic medieval stuff. Mind you, I hope you all leave now because I'm going into spoilers. Alright, you all gone? Good. Spoiler alert. This dragon is controlled by a collar, and the thing of it is that all these beasts are controlled by some sort of, from what I know or remember, I believe the 6 beasts are controlled by some sort of relic on them that is controlling them. Because, like, Farno has a collar, Sepron has a collar with a chain. I believe Arcta has the blindfold. That's is the artifact that's controlling him. 4, I don't know what Tagus is. Don't tell me, in all honesty, now, because I think I'll figure it out when I get to the book anyway. I mean, I have read the book, it's just been a while since school, so... And then number 5, I think, is The Bell. I'm pretty sure about that. Number 6, I've never read at all, because back in school, they had the first 5 books, and then the other series books. They did not have Epos, I'm going to call it. Epos at all. So I never got to read The Flame Bird, or Phoenix, which I prefer, but I understand, because every time they have to call it 2 digits. The Fire Dragon, the Sea Serpent, Mountain Giant. You get the idea. So, Fire Phoenix would have hurt, but I don't understand why we have 2 fire beasts. But then again, what am I going on about? The point is, I think Beast Quest is a very underrated series, and I think people need to really look more into it. Give Adam Blake credit, he made all these books, and he really put his heart into it. I hope to see more from him. Please give this series a read, it's really good. And next time I will be reviewing Sepron the Sea Serpent in the series. Okay, see you then. Hi guys, it's book 2 of the Beast Quest series. We're now on Sepron the Sea Serpent. Read it it's been not quite a big while, but while enough for me to get the ball started. I mean, I took longer for now because it took like a gap. Anyway, but because I let my teacher borrow this book, and I want to see if he could get it finished so I could finish it, but he didn't have time to do it because he was more focused on his work. But I took my crack at it again and managed to get through it. And you know what? I think this is more enjoyable than the first one, in my opinion, because the first one is more like setting up things, and you don't have much time to get to how the characters bond or adventure. And now we have Eleanor and Tom together, they're doing more stuff together, so the first few chapters focuses on them getting to face Sepron. Whether, like, they're facing a tidal wave, it's like, they're facing it feels like the story takes from one place to the next spot on their journey, kind of thing. Like, they go to the sea where they head towards the ocean where the sea serpent is, but this tidal wave comes and sets them to a place which turns out to be a village, and that village has a boat that they repair, and then they steal the boat or borrow the boat and go into the next spot, which is the island. And on the island they find the next spot on the map, which is the chain, which leads them to the bottom where they found it. So I like the pacing of it. It does have good pacing. So it's probably, I would say it's a bit better in that regard. Another thing that makes it cool is that Tom has to fight alone without Eleanor's help. Because in the first one he needed Eleanor's help to free Furno, if you didn't know, with the arrow thing and the key. Well, speaking of the key actually doesn't work this time, which is amazing. So the key doesn't work, which makes it even more tensional. So there are some things that are looking out forward to, and then the fact that they explain the detail of how Sepron works. It's like his hair, or his, I don't know if it's part of him or something, but it's cool. It looks like seaweed, and it makes you think that he's just another, so he can hide them like that. Like he's just another big plant. But he's actually a big coily beast, which is pretty cool. So, and the thing is, since he's underwater, Tom has to keep going up and down for breaths of air, which is awesome. So he does like 1 or 2, or maybe, I think, 3 tries. And Benji gets it right, and then he has like the strength for. I think he figures out another way to free the beast without using the collar, which is actually pretty creative. Why? I think it was like he smashed into the rock or something, or that he used his sword. Oh, I remember now. He used his sword to put it in the lock and hope that would click it, and it did. So he freed Sepron that way. But that was an awesome book. He liked it more than the first one did. So that's my thoughts on Sepron the Sea Serpent. Join us next time where I review Arcta the Mountain Giant, where I just finished today. So I'm looking forward to that one. Welcome to Book 3, guys. Beast Quest Arcta the Mountain Giant. Actually, I was surprised by this one. The last time I read it, it didn't feel like much of a good book. But rereading it, it's actually pretty an awesome book. Especially when they get to the giant. It's similar to Sepron in a way, but if that, like, similar as in the climax bit when they fight the beast. I'm gonna go for it down, I would say it's in 2 acts, like all the others. If you can hear anything in the background, that's my sister's music kind of thing. She does that not. Anyway, but it's normally 2 acts. First parts are... The first half is when they're fighting landslides, similar to how Sepron was doing tidal waves. Arcta, yeah, that's it. Arcta is doing landslides to keep the people away and stuff. So Arcta decides to go hide, roar in the mountains and stuff because he can't see, while Tom and Eleanor come across some villagers with this boy in the mountains telling that there's a giant. The boy says there's a giant and everyone else doesn't believe him. And they decide that, you should go back and stuff. Eventually, they help out. There are these 3 thieves, and they try to steal stuff off this old guy. The old guy turns out to be the mayor. Pardon me. But the old guy turns out to be the mayor, and the thieves get trapped into a fire. So they help out the thieves because it's the right thing to do. And then the leader of the thieves, Randall, tells them directions to find Arcta. And they go to the mountains and find them. And they reach the Valley of the Eagles or something like that. Valley of the Eagles. And then they see this is where it gets interesting. Eleanor and Silver get trapped in a cave. And that's a subplot, because Silver is acting weirdly in this one. He keeps disobeying Eleanor's commands and runs off all the time. And that's a subplot. I like that. That's a nice, more little level of detail. I don't know if that happened in the other 2 books before now, but if it didn't, well, there's now. So, Eleanor and Silver get trapped in a cave because of a landslide, and then Arcta comes, and then Tom's by himself again, just like in with Sepron, to fight the beast. So it's similar to that, but in the situation, there's no, Tom doesn't need to keep up with breaths. The only problem is that someone else's life is on the line. So, he goes, and since the beast is blinded, he can't see him, but he can smell him and sense him all that. So, he decides to risk his life and become a distraction, to get the beast away from Eleanor before he senses the wolf barking. Eventually, he gets on top of them, and then they fall off onto the edge of the cliff. And the beast's arms are on top of a rock, trying to keep him up there. Tom swings over on a rope that the thief gave him to help save him from the fire. And he swings on, unties the knot, and that's how the beast is freed. It's pretty cool. They go up and rescue Eleanor. And there you go. And it turns out that the giant is actually a Cyclops, because he only has 1 eye, so that's a surprise. I suppose he's meant to be called Arcta the Mountain Cyclops, but since you don't know that he's a Cyclops at the end of the book, I'll let it slide. It's not that much of a big loss. And of course, he gets a new power item, and he gets a new a feather for his shield. I forgot to mention this, but if you didn't know, the other powers were Ferno's scale protects him from fire, Sepron's tooth protects him from water, and this one helps him stop from falls or get some gusts or something like that. So there's some good stuff in this. I would say it's better than Sepron just by a 2 nicks or something. Just because it feels like that extra subplot bit and that bit of tension with Eleanor's life on the line, it feels more upstakey. And the fact that the Beast was going to die at a certain point, because he was hanging off hanging off the cliff with Tom. So yeah, in all, I actually like this one. This is a really good book, I think. Probably the best one so far. But next is Tagus the Horseman, so who knows, maybe that opinion might change. So this has been Arcta the Mountain Giant. I'm looking forward to read Tagus the Horseman. We'll see you then. Hi guys, and welcome to book number 4 of Beast Quest Series 1. Tagus the Horseman. This has got to be my favourite book so far, to be honest. I just finished reading it, and there's actually some really good things I like about this book. I'm going to cut straight into it. I read the first 5 chapters, and then I cut to the second half, and I didn't think it'd be as good as the first bit, but I was actually wrong. Okay, cut to the story. They just defeated Arcta, and actually, turns out, the first thing that happens is this badass stampede, which is where Tom is actually captured by the villagers earlier on, which I was not seeing coming. So he gets captured, and everyone thinks he's the guy who took this head of the guard's son, Victor. So he gets taken into jail, and his weapons get taken off him. Now this is another part. This leads into my next good thing about this. But before I get into that, actually, there's something I need to mention. It's said before he goes to jail, and he mentions Eleanor's and Tom's friendship grows in this one. It's not. They say it in a way that you can see how it's grown. So they do mention that, which I like that they did that. But this is where I was talking about. Tom's in the cell, and even though he doesn't have his weapons on him, he actually figures out a pretty special way of getting out of the cell. He makes a little trap with a rock and a pebble to try and trick a guard to get out. So that's pretty clever on his half. He gets out, and then Eleanor comes to rescue him, and they find Victor in the woods. I think, well, no, it was the plains, so that, yeah. They find Victor, and they take him back to the village, because they say, oh, if we take him back, they'll believe that we found his son and all that, and also that he's hurting, he's a doctor. But villagers think that you did this to him, and no, of course they sell the thing, says no, but Victor knows who did do it. It was Tagus the Horseman. And this leads into Tom's next plan, which is to team up with these guys up in a cattle herd, and then they can watch where Tagus is from there, because he'll come to them, because that's what he does. He kills the cattle, and cause them to go in a stampede. So that's like his thing. It's like the thing that each of the monsters does a thing, whether it's landslides, tidal waves, etc., or burning crops. This one is he's starting stampedes and stealing stuff. So Tagus shows up, and Tom goes after him without his weapons, because he left them at the camp, and he tries to stop the beast with Swarm the horse. But he's on the other side of the river, so he risks Storm going into the other side of the river. Mind you, he's done this before in Sepron, I think, where he was in this tidal wave thing, so I'm pretty sure he could do that, and he did, so they got to the other side. But eventually, though, Tagus separates him from Storm, because Tom has a rope with him, though, puts it around his neck, and then Tagus tugs him off Storm, and then Tom gets dragged by the beast, it gets pretty brutal in this one. This is as brutal as I've ever seen it being. Tom gets dragged up by Tagus, as this superpowered beast you've got the superpowered beast against this boy, and you know how young he is, I don't know, I forgot his age, but he's getting thrashed by him. Anyway, eventually, he tricks the beast into he's going to tackle him. So Tom is actually going to think that he's going to fight this guy, even though he's like 10 times bigger than him. But he actually coiled his legs up and tricked him because he's so nimble and small. So that's pretty creative there. Some more good stuff for this guy. Once his legs get coiled up, he falls to the ground, and then his horseshoe gets it loose. Now that's another thing that caught me off guard. I didn't know what the enchanted item that was keeping him under control was, but having it be a horseshoe was a good idea, because I would never have guessed that. So I was surprised by that. But the horseshoe nearly gets off until, but I guess that horseshoe lifting up on that picture must have given it away. Unless it's gold. Who cares? But the horseshoe nearly comes off, but no, Tagus pushes him back. Elena comes just in time. I was so close. Oh, I thought the beast was going to get done there, but no. Elena comes just back in time with Silver and Storm, and he takes the sword, and clunk, that shoe comes right off. And another beast is freed. Awesome book. Awesome. Loved it. That's why it's the best one, because there's so much build up here, there's so much tension, character development. It's something I wanted. The stakes are higher. I love Tagus the Horseman. I didn't think I would like it at first because of his design. He didn't look as threatening as the others, but boy was I wrong. It wasn't just the beast that made this book awesome, it was the story itself. I'm looking forward to reading Nanook in book 5. So this is book 4. I've loved it so far. Best one of season 1. And I hope to see some more good. Can it be the best? Well, we'll find out as I continue with 2 books to go. Hi guys, welcome to book number 5 of series 1 of Beast Quest. Nanook the Snow Monster. I just finished reading it. It wasn't as good as Tagus, to be honest. It actually... I'm gonna get to the ending when I get there, but first we've got to cover a few things down. In this book they acknowledge all the good they've done so far by freeing the 4 beasts, which you know of. And how things have changed and all that. They also acknowledge that, they also acknowledge here that Silver is always the first one to respond to danger. Oh yeah, Tom does act as a good leader in the village when the 2 Snow Panthers attack. So he does act more of a leader in this one. Another thing is, Tom and Eleanor learn to try a sleigh. Alright, we'll get with the plot now. After rescuing the 4 beasts, they go to the north to find Nanook the Snow Monster. And they get like hitched up by, I think it was the snow. Eventually they find these people, these camp guys, and they help them out, and they take them to the snow to rest, to the camp to rest. Eventually they hear of the snow monster from the boy who is seeing them, and they go and they ask for a sleigh, and they learn how to ride it, and they go after Nanook. Now apparently Tom is a bit scared of Nanook for some reason, because he's heard stories of the past about him. No, sorry, her. Nanook is a girl. So they go, but eventually they get snudged up when the ice turns out to be weak, and Elena gets trapped in the water. So after they rescue her from the cold ice, she gets taken out again from another Beast Quest battle. Then they fight. Then Tom faces Nanook, and this is where we get to the real sad part. The fight really feels really short. It's more of a scuffle, dodging punches, blocking them with shield, and after a bit of dodging a few attacks, and the chain being tough to break, eventually, of course, it does fling off, and then the monster is easily defeated. So the ending felt rushed in a way. It wasn't as good as the others, but there was still one more chapter up to this where Elena is still weakened from when he was put in the cold water thing. So just so happens that Albin and his dad have found him and they heal up Eleanor, so all's good. But it does build up to the greatest beast, the most deadliest beast of all, Epos the Flamebird, which everyone's looking forward to. Even I am, because I never got to it. But I'm looking forward to reading Epos in our next book. But as for Nanook, it's not the best book. I think, or at the very least, I'll put it as the weakest of Series 1. for so far, but I hope Epos does bring up some good things in the last book of the series. I'm really looking forward to it. Until next time, guys, Book 6. Okay, guys, Book 6 at last. Epos the Flame Bird. And now there's a lot to get through with this, but I want to cut straight down to it. This has got to be the best book. Yes, even better than Tagus the Horseman. The story starts off in this one with the 5 beasts being freed, and Tom feels a bit different now. He feels a bit more eager to complete and finish the quest. Eventually, something surprises me. Epos shows up straight away, and sorry about that. Epos shows up straight away, and he attacks he attacks the group. Eventually, though, Epos flees, and Tom just wants to keep fighting Epos to end this bloody mess. Eventually, though, they find these people who are in the forest, and they need to put out the fires. They eventually all go together to find these big caves where Epos' nest is meant to lie deep within it. So, yeah, Epos is a... what am I saying? Epos is a female, and that ring on her leg is her enchantment piece, which is controlling her. So, Tom goes with the group, and the group goes to this big cave where they find... No, something happened before that. Oh yeah. They find this boy called Owen who has a piece of armor which belongs to Taladon the Swift, who is Tom's father. Tom is actually stunned by this because he finally has a clue on his father, and we see other hints as that as you go through the book. So he goes into the cave and they find the nest, and there's lots of his armor there, and it turns out it fits Tom as a boy. So that means Taladon's been doing this as a boy. Then Epos shows up again at her nest, and then the group gets separated, and Tom decides to face Epos alone. So Epos takes the shield off him, and then he has to only use his sword, but eventually he uses that too. Then Malvel shows up, the big villain who's behind this big plot of controlling the beasts, and he intimidates him and tortures him and says that you're weak and tries to tell lies. But with that, of course, inner strength, Tom is able to overpower Epos and break the ring controlling her. But he does say that Taladon was actually his father, who was helping him in a way. Anyway, Epos goes after Malvel, but Malvel teleports away with his magic, I'm assuming, or someone helped him, but we don't know. But he disappears, and we have to stop the volcano from erupting, because the cave they're on is under a volcano, and Epos stops it by sacrificing herself. But again, she's a flame bird, and of course it's revealed she's a phoenix. It's not really big of a surprise if she's a flame bird. Come on, phoenix, flame bird, similar. So she gets reborn in her new form, and all her darkness fades, apparently, as we're so told. And after that, I don't know what her new, the thing is I haven't figured out yet, is that I'm assuming she gives him either a power-up for his shield, but I forgot what it was. Can anyone tell me? Mind you, I might look it up to see what it is anyway. But, so, Epos is free, and Tom faces Wizard Adaro, who teleports him and the people and Tom's friends to King Hugo's palace, and the king thanks him. And Wizard Adaro says that Malvel might come back, and everyone cheers in the crowd, and then Tom thinks he sees Malvel, and then so he does a People's a Batman and disappears when he looks again. And that's setting up for the next series, probably, if he shows up again. But yeah, I've done the first series of Beast Quest now. I'm finally going to move on to the next series, Series 2. It just came today, and I'm looking forward to start things off with the Squid one. So look forward to Series 2. Thanks guys, hope you enjoyed it.